So, Lisa, we know that you are kind of a guru in the personal branding market or in the niche. And we know that personal branding is important these days because, as you mentioned earlier, people hire people that they trust. But still, building a personal brand these days, for some people, might be a new concept. For immigrants or international students, maybe this concept doesn't exist in their country. So how
Mhm.
can they build that?
Yeah, a personal brand is okay. Let's start. What is a personal brand? It's simply the way that people experience you. It's how you are able to create a perception or an impression about your experience, about your knowledge, about what you do and what you have to offer.
Mhm.
Whether you do that online or in your workplace or even in interviews, you're basically showcasing who you are. It's not necessarily a fancy logo or tagline or colors, which is part of what branding is as a whole. But
Yeah.
your personal brand is actually more your message. It's about the stories that you share, how you highlight your value, and also the impression that you leave behind. And so, if you're thinking of it from that perspective, your personal brand basically helps you to be able to control the narrative of your career. I'm an introvert and I work with a lot of introverts. That's the main focus of my career coaching and executive coaching practice. And I remember when I was starting my career, I would often get comments of people saying things like, "Oh, you're antisocial," or "Oh, you don't like interacting with people," or "You're standoffish." And I always started to wonder, like, why do they get that impression of me, even
Yeah.
if that's not the actual impression of who I am. And I realized is that they were creating a narrative about me based on what they were seeing.
Yeah.
So I had to be intentional to create the narrative around my career, who I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to be perceived in the marketplace, in the workplace. And that's how I began to shift the narrative about who I am as an introvert and about my skills, about my knowledge. And we all have the power to do this. So whether you know it or not, you already have a personal brand because it's the way people perceive you. It's the perception you have. But what building a personal brand helps you do, it helps you be intentional about the message that you're putting out there so that you can communicate the value that you offer.
And can the perception be changed from, let's say, from one year to another year? Because if someone is starting at the beginning and they don't know, and maybe they were shy, but maybe after a time they overcome their shyness, can the perception be changed at a later time?
Yeah, excellent question because that was my story. That's how I navigated my personal brand, and that's how a lot of my clients also are able to make that shift. Yes, you can change the perception and the impression that people have of you. There are different ways that you can do it, either through your story and being able to build your personal brand, or if you're looking to make a quick change, you just changing the environment, changing the people around you as well, and rebuilding or rebranding based on the new audience that you have. But ultimately, as professionals, we evolve. As a person, you're going to evolve, you're going to grow, things are going to change with you. You may change jobs, you may change careers. And so, yeah, your brand will evolve with you as well. It's not something that's static, it should change.
Yeah, thank you for those great tips. Again, for the audience watching or listening, if you have any other tips in terms of personal branding, leave them below and tune in next time for another great question with Lisa.